You think you can do it on your own, but you have to rely on other smart people to give you some guidance on it.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
remember, Todd, we're problem solvers. When we buy a building, we have 5 million problems to solve. You just start with one problem at a time,
Yep.
and you get better at making faster decisions.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to the show. Your host, Todd Dexheimer, and I got Chris Kohler. Chris, how are you doing today?
Good, Todd. Thanks for having me. You finally got me. I know we were playing kind of take for a couple of weeks here. I've been
That's all
busy.
right. Like, Chris, get on the show. Would you come on? So a little bit about Chris. He's the CEO of Skyline Real Estate Services, and Skyline has been is one of, I would say, Minnesota's, especially becoming. You guys are fairly new, but I would say you've already carved out a really powerful reputation in the Twin Cities. So becoming one of the more premier property management companies that specialize in repositioning and renovating multifamily, and notably in the Twin Cities. So in Chris, you have a very extensive background managing really big projects, really notable renovations in the Twin Cities, and outside of the Twin Cities too, and a few cities just outside of the Twin Cities too. So,
Yeah.
I want to dive in. There's a couple things I really want to talk about today, and one of those things being project management. But Chris, why don't you give our listeners just a bit more about your background, whatever you want to add in there that I didn't cover, and then we'll
Sure.
dive in.
Yeah. Well, I think we got to rewind to, my father actually owned, he was a big Section 8 guy back in the 80s and 90s. So he had a couple buildings, in the kind of the New Hope area. We lived out in Plymouth, but I kind of grew up in it. So,
Yeah.
remember rent collection with my dad back in the day, and everything was contract for deed, right, at 18%. And that's just what they did back in the 80s. But, he kind of did everything himself. When he owned 24 units, we did everything himself. So for me, I kind of worn every hat in the industry. I was a caretaker through college that got me through college. Did some showings in college. My wife actually got me a caretaker position right out of college in Minneapolis. So I'd clean, paint, take care of the building, and I just really liked it. Fast forward, I think a couple of years, it's about 2005. It's funny, another job that got me through college is I actually worked for CoStar.
Hmm.
And so this was just a side gig that I did to get me through college. And as I, got into the real world, I actually worked for CoStar. And what CoStar is, I think we all know CoStar. What they would do is I was a freelancer for CoStar. And this is back in 2005 when the whole world was going into foreclosure. Well, what CoStar would do is they say, hey, Chris, here's 300 properties. They would be industrial, they'd be single family homes, they'd be warehouses, they'd be multifamily. And, I would drive on the weekend through all of these different buildings and I'd comp them. So I'd have to get out of my car, take a picture, give a quick 30-second comp on a piece of paper that we had. But I did hundreds and hundreds of these. I'd do like 300 in a weekend. I'd start in the morning on Saturday morning and work Saturday and Sunday. And I could do, if the properties were all close, I'd do 300 on the weekend. In Minneapolis, there's like 60 of them I could do.
Wow.
So I just saw a lot of buildings and was in a multifamily, commercial, residential, single family homes. So I literally saw thousands and thousands of buildings back in 2005, and I really liked it. I liked it so much that one of my first jobs, I was lucky enough to work as a property manager for a company called Soderbergh Apartment Specialists. And back in 2005, they had a family portfolio that was about 700 units. And we were on pace. We wanted to grow the portfolio. So we would start buying kind of just the worst apartment buildings in places like Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. Uh, and we started renovating them. We would renovate them to the tune of, I don't know, back then we were doing like 10,000.
which is
So
like
maybe
20,000 a day.
you're right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it really
So
is probably, right? I mean,
uh,
10,000 in 2005 is probably
yes,
20 grand.
yeah, it is. But we acted as a general contractor, and we just my old mentor, which is a big part of my success, is I had a great group of about 10 people that I really trusted and really learned a lot from. And Jim was one of those. And acting as a contractor, property manager slash renovator slash leasing agent, we did that. We only had 700 units back then. We could really micromanage and do everything ourselves. So in 2005, he started buying them and I started renovating them. But leased really well, right? Because I was renovating them. So I did everything myself. And it's not that crazy. It's a 50 unit building we started with, and only 17 people were living there, Todd. So I renovated and then I grab a showing.
Yeah.
And, I just did everything myself. But at 50 units, you can really kind of get your head around everything. I'm the best leaser because I'm going to show off the granite countertop that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
figured
You
out
know
how to
what just
mount the top of
happened.
it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and by the way, on a 50 unit, as long as you got the capital improvement projects figured out, the units are what they are. It's just a redundancy. If I can get the price to $10,000, I'm just doing it 50 times. It doesn't
Mm.
really fluctuate that much in the units, and I can really pinpoint my price. So anyway, jump forward, for Soderbergh, we wanted to grow the portfolio, which we did. And then eventually in about 2010, I still worked for Soderbergh doing his large renovations. So we tackled projects like Concierge Apartments, which was 700 unit. That's the third largest property in the state. But again, we just took it in chunks. I treated 700 units. I took one building at a time, and I scaled it with lots and lots of painters. And I treated one of those buildings as 140 units. We just got our trades lined up in that building, and they were in that building. So really, there was 700 units, but I just treated each building like its own property, and we just renovated that building, and then jumped to the next one, jumped to the next one, jumped to the next one. And so at the end of it, you had a little group in each one of those buildings. It wasn't that crazy to scale it out. Again, as we got better at not using contractors, because we were really acting as the contractor. And by the way, I'm not a contractor, and we're not doing any contractor work. We are pulling obviously plumbing permits, and the trades are doing that, but we're really the on-site construction management company on it. So that grew and that grew, and then finally, I had the tough discussion with my old mentor saying, I'm going to go out on my own. So Skyline was formed in 2010, and we started with 54 units. Just I think like most of the people you talk to, you start with 54. And I really liked taking the tough properties and making them efficient, meaning tenants are happy, boiler rooms are cleaned and Windexed, the property makes money, it's efficient, and I like that. When someone gives me the responsibility to say, here's your budget, get it up and running, get it leased up. That's the full cycle that I love about real estate, when I can sit back and go, wow, everyone loves this building. It makes money because this is
Yeah.
a for-profit business. The tenants love it and they're being taken care of. And also it's better for the community.
Yeah.
We buy buildings in very tough areas because that's the biggest opportunity. But the number one way you clean up a city is by the lowest common denominator, which is usually the tough rental properties that are underperforming. And we take real pride in that in the cities. Remember, when we screen at Skyline, when we screen our tenants, we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for 650 credit score, no felonies, no gross misdemeanors, no evictions. But keep in mind, I have a really great product that is attracting a new clientele to that area that wants great customer service. Our properties look like C++, right? I'm not class A, but I pretend to be class A. So that caught on, and I'm first and foremost, I consider myself a maintenance tech. I really do. If you understand maintenance, you understand how your building operates, and the tenants appreciate that. So before anything else, I feel like I'm a maintenance guy that just has a lot of buildings. And I think if we be humble and treat ourselves like that, I think it shows and it's contagious and the tenants appreciate it and ownership appreciates it. And it's just that grittiness that I think Skyline has. And I've tried to always hire around that. I'm constantly picking up garbage. And I expect every single one of my property managers to still be doing that, let
Yeah.
alone the maintenance guys.
Yeah.
So
That's one thing that drives me nuts the most is when I show up at a property that I own and
yeah,
there's garbage laying around or like the
me too.
smoke detectors are chirping, just the little
Mhm.
things like that. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, no, it's a huge deal because if you've walked by that garbage like
Yeah.
3 times, what else are you walking by in this
Yeah.
property? That's just such an easy thing to just grab that piece of garbage and pick it up. But if you just walk by it, that means you're not paying attention.
Mhm. Todd, think about it this way. Think about when you're doing that. If a tenant is looking out the window and they see me do that, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I would want my property manager to do that, and I would really appreciate it if I saw that happening. But I'm working for the tenants,
Yep.
right? I'm the person, a property management company. I'm working for the owner and the tenant, and I'm balancing those both. And I want to look good in front of my tenants too.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a critical to stay humble in this industry. We have to be. I'm the best toilet plunger in the world, and I'll vet anybody on it. But that is the business that we're in. Is we're taking care of a heck of a lot of people. Um,
I
so
like
yeah,
that philosophy right there, though, Chris. I mean, I think that's really important. I don't think that many people have that you're working for the tenant. Like these people are paying you really good money. And that's one thing that I try to like just tell everybody that's working for us is like, look, these people are paying us really good
yeah,
money. Like this is
yeah,
a big part of their paycheck. The probably this maybe the biggest, or if not the biggest, is the second biggest behind their income taxes, right?
yeah,
That's a huge part of their paycheck that goes to paying rent. You're working for them, right?
yeah,
And it's not. I feel like a lot of owners and property managers don't look at it that way, and that's when you start to get in trouble. That's when it's like,
yeah,
why are the tenants complaining? Why is it hard? Why do you have so much turnover? Yeah, it's
yeah.
because you're not treating those tenants the right way. Them you're not treating them like they're paying you good money. You're not treating them like they're your residents. They're just somebody there and they're annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we lived through 2005 when it was extremely difficult. I mean, we were giving away TVs, concessions, one
Yeah.
month free, right? So you do have to appreciate living through that because literally we had vacant units, right?
Oh yeah.
5% vacant. I mean, we're just begging people to live here.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
a lot of evictions too during that time.
Yes, yes. So yeah, we operate full all the time. I mean, it is very common for us to be full, 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 full. And that was just kind of my upbringing and training. But, you know, stupidity and gullibility do well in this industry. My boss told me, you're full all the time and you collect 100% of the rent. That's what I lived off of. I didn't know what normal vacancy rate in underwriting was because I'm not, there's no training for property management really. There is more now in colleges and business. You start seeing it more and more. But I'm self-taught, and I was taught to be full all the time, and you collect all the rent. You know,
Mm.
that's my dad and my mentors doing that, and that's what I did. And by the way, the 24-hour turn, we still do it with 500 units when it's appropriate. When we renovate these buildings, Todd, like, a Granite Peaks, we made all the units the same. Back then, if all the units and all the consistency and all the product is the same light bulb, same faucet, we still 24-hour turn those buildings because we got a good clientele. We have a system set up where we're pre-inspecting and pre-maintaining these turns. So we can do a quick 24-hour turn.
Yep.
But
You
that's,
know, you already know what the paint color is. You know what the flooring is. You know all these little things. You know what they are. You know what the trim size is.
yeah,
Whatever needs to get replaced, you're like, yeah, we got that. We know what it is. It's in.
it,
It's either in stock or it's easy to get.
right. And that's my goal when we reposition, whether it's, a purchase, reno, or a different goal for an owner is, hey, you're doing this out of cash flow. You're redirecting this property as a value add. Now I got to put some money into it. I got to reposition it, get a little more rents. That's our goal. We have a lot of those scenarios where, hey, take my property. It's time to, it's a little tired. I'm passing it down to the kids, or that is a big part of our business where owners will call and say, reposition this one for me, Chris,
Yeah.
and get everything consistent floor, consistent light fixtures throughout the building. And that's always our goal, is to give them a consistent product. When we walk these buildings, different color carpet here, tile here, floor here, everything's piecemealed and slapped together.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
like a nice, efficient building where I can potentially 24-hour turn it if it's positioned right on the front end of it.
yeah.
So that's our goal,
Yeah.
you know.
So you're being really humble, Chris.
That's
You renovated a 700 unit, like 699, 698, whatever it is, 700
yeah,
unit apartment complex
yeah,
in 18 months. You guys stuck like $1 million into common areas and amenities.
right.
And, you know, it wasn't lipstick on a pig. I walked that. I don't know if you remember meeting me. Uh,
Yeah.
but I walked that and you were the one kind of showing us around or me around. Um, it was impressive. I mean, there was granite countertops, new cabinets, flooring, lighting, paint, the whole works. Everything was done, and it was done in 18 or so months on 700 units. Most people would struggle renovating 100 units in 18 months.
Yeah.
Yet you guys did it with
Yeah.
700 units. I want
Okay.
to dig into prop project management and how you can properly project manage
Hmm.
something like that and actually get through these quality and quantity quickly.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you didn't see the past. So that was 2017, 2015, or something like that. 2015, 2017. We had been doing our goal when we were building up the Soderbergh family portfolio was about 250 units a year of reno, maybe a 50 unit, then 60 unit, then 100 unit, right? 250 units was really our marching orders from 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. I mean, we really needed to hit our 200 and some units a year. So that was our past experience. That's what we did. We did 200 units a year. So when we did get to concierge, I was just happy that it was 700 in, Richfield.
One location.
It wasn't multiple sites.
Yeah.
But you know how it starts. I mean, my goal was, when we're doing a large renovation like 700 units, there's many different areas of the rentals. So there's vacant, right? So how we treat the vacants, again, as you know, when we're, say my budget is back then, I don't remember, 17,000 per unit, right? 15,000 per unit probably back then. I'm figuring out one unit. And if I get all my product and material, okay, this one unit with all my trades, electrical, plumbing, my guys, hours, labor, right? I just figure out one unit and it's going to cost me 15,000. So now I call out for how many of them. So back then I just used, it's called Smart Sheets. It's Smart Sheets, it's a glorified Excel spreadsheet on how to, all we did is we took the rent roll and I said, this first month I'm going to do 20 units. So now keep in mind, I treated those 700 units like one building. One building housed 124 units. All I did was I got three different electrical companies to give me, they could do back then, I think they did 3 panels in a day. So I just hired three different companies and there's my 9 units of electrical per day.
Hmm.
And so I just scaled it out. But so when you're treating a vacant unit, remember my guys, we have to finish it in 1 month. So if I'm doing 20 units, and I'm telling my property manager and leasing agents, hey, you can go ahead and rent these 60 days out,
Yeah.
90 days out. I'm just giving the office the schedule. I'm going to finish these. You can rent them now. And that's our goal, is to stay, when we have guys that are building out these units, they have to be done on the 31st because our office staff is renting them. And so that's how we stay 60 days out. So anyway, that's what we did. And we just built a team to give us 20. And then we scaled up with more painting. I think we used 5 different painting companies, 2 different flooring companies. But it always goes, you finish 20, and then the next month we called out for 30. And then the next month we called out for 40. And then we hit 70. So 70 a month over there got us that. But we had, 5 different crews working in 5 different buildings to do that. So really, I needed documentation and where to tell them. That was the hardest part. And really, if you get in front of it and lay it out on an Excel spreadsheet, hey, carpet guys, these are your units for the next year. It's not that crazy. The other key thing as you're doing the renovations in those down units, they're down a month, right? Is how quickly can you get to the common areas?
Yeah.
The common areas are something that it's not that crazy because we just ordered in bulk. And by the way, when anyone has the opportunity to buy in bulk, do it. We did that a lot on Concierge. I mean, I bought 700 units of appliances. And all I said to
All
him
at
was,
one time.
we locked it up and
Locked
said
it up.
over the next 18 months, you're going to
Yeah.
give us 700 units. So Todd, we were paying $1,400 for a stainless steel package, including
Yeah.
microwave and dishwasher.
Which should have been $1,800.
Correct. You just have
Yeah.
such scale. Todd, I remember the day I called HD Supply and I said, I need cabinet knobs. Well, where are they? Where are they? They say, well, Chris, you shut down a factory. I needed 17 cabinet knobs per unit
Yeah.
times 700.
Times 700.
So we bought in bulk. We cut the granite on site. Granite we bought from China, and
So you
we
bought that
literally
in
just,
bulk and then
yep,
actually cut
yep,
it right on
yep.
site.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we just kept everything on site because we wanted to not be able to be told how fast to go, but to be able to go as fast as we wanted to.
Yeah.
It's if you get the systems in place and you spot check, when I'm doing a reno, regardless if it's 700 or 20, I'm always coming back to my budget and saying, in the 2 months down the road, 1 month down the road, am I still at 15?
Yeah.
And usually, as you get into this, stuff changes, right? The
Yep.
panel's not here in this unit, right? It's over here. Usually these apartments are just big boxes. They're all the same relatively after a while. So you get a real feel for it. Yeah, you want to hit your 15. It doesn't change after that first month very often. You really can get your head around the building fast by then. And that's what happened with Concierge. So shift over to the common areas, right? The common areas are actually the variable. We have an idea of what we want to do, but that is, I think, what Skyline is really good at is we don't move walls around when we don't have to. So we're really trying to touch every surface. Paint is very cheap per square foot, so we do a lot of painting. We have the same group of, I've heard you talk about this a lot, Todd. We have the same group of vendors that have been with us for years and years and years. And those guys know the pace, they know what the expectations are, and they know the timeline.
Yeah.
But having I mean, I learned a long time ago, I need this industry, property management, investing, whatever you call it, you need to know a lot of people
Yeah,
because
for
this
sure.
industry touches every other industry. I need to know about plumbing, financials, taxes, plumbing, rodents, bed bugs. I need to know it all.
Yep.
So I need to know five guys to help me for each one of those scenarios. And I'm not very smart, but I know a lot of smart people. And I think as much as you can learn from these trades and know how to use them, I think that's just so beneficial. You just need to know a lot of different trades because I have to solve a lot of different problems each day, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So anyway, back to concierge. Yeah, I mean that was pretty. It was great. Uh, Compartmentalize it, break it down. It's not 700 units to me. It's 5 buildings of 145. The units are all the same. They're all one bedrooms down there. So me and you know, it's like hitting golf balls. You get better after you do 100, then you do 1,000. You're getting really good at it. That's just what we've been doing. Uh, the
You're
fun,
downplaying this though. It's really
yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
It's
Um,
really impressive. But it started with just like any business. I mean, those who are listening, like just with any business, anything, it didn't start with 700 units. It's not like you're like
yeah,
woke
yeah,
up one day and you're like, "Oh, I think I want to do property management. Maybe
yeah.
take on a project or two. What do we got here? Oh, let's look here. Oh yeah. Oh, this one's listed in the newspaper. 700 units for sale.
Well,
Let's do that one, right?
Todd, I told you the story about our first one.
Yeah,
No one
right.
believed us what we were doing. You're gonna take this building that's darn near tipping over and vacant and foreclosed, and you're
Yeah,
gonna put granite in
17
it.
occupants out of what did you say,
That's
58 or something like that?
Yeah, it was a 54 unit building in
54.
Brooklyn Center. It was foreclosed, and 17 people were grandfathered into it.
Yeah.
And
So
you know, you just figure it out and you start talking to people. But if you're passionate about it, you know, it rents.
yeah,
And then you take care of the people. And then you say, do you like the granite countertops? Do you like the stainless steel? What would you have done? That goes hand in hand with renovating. The portion that people forget about with us is we renovate, but then we brand it. It always starts with the name. Concierge started with concierge. It's the name. We're going to take care of people. We're going to give them a lifestyle of hanging out by the pool, driving down the road to the Mall of America to their job. You got it all here, right? It starts with the name when we're renovating of the aura of the building. And you know, that pool there, that's the second largest pool in the state. We rented on the weekends. I mean, when we had the pool occupancy, Todd, down there was like 300 people.
Hmm. Wow.
Well, dude, I'm doing showings on a Saturday and there's 300 people at the pool. I don't even have to see the unit. Forget about it. Sign me up. I'm living
Yeah.
here.
This place looks
It's
cool, right? When
it's
there's like
just
live DJs there at times, weren't there?
yeah.
Isn't that what?
By the way, he lived there. So all I did was, hey DJ, you know, I'll give you $100. Fire up the equipment and bring
Yeah.
it right outside and let's go. But my boss Jim, you know, years ago he goes, have fun with this stuff. I'm doing this to have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
But it's contagious, and it's contagious with the employees and the leasing and the tenants when they come in. Let's have fun with multifamily. And I think Skyline, what we learned from Soderbergh when I saw him grow, this is really hard work. God, I'm gonna have fun. And I want people to know it's a Skyline building and they take pride in this stuff. It is a for-profit, but we're having fun doing it, and we're going to take care of the tenants a lot. And it's fun, it's contagious, and that's what we try to live by. And that was passed down to me. So that's what we do.
How do you manage quality control with doing a lot of units
Yeah.
like that? How do you manage quality control?
It got real bad at the start. I'll tell you that. It's I'm a big blue tape person, so think about it. We're working on a couple of projects now where we'll do 10 a month,
Yeah.
right? So 70 unit building. We're shifting, this, as you know, each building strategy is different. When I have an owner saying, I bought a building, my first question is, show me the rent roll. Is it month to month? Is it locked up in leases? That is the start of the strategy. If I've got a vacant building, I'm rocking and rolling from day one and leasing from day one. If I'm locked up in leases, obviously it's a slower burn, right? So I might start on common areas, get those done, right? Then as it shifts, or if I'm flip-flopping people from unit to unit, right? It starts with the rent roll and how fast I can go. The only reason I go fast is because we rent fast. Our staff, our property managers, they are trained leasing agents. I've given them the product and all the ammo with the art in the hallways, carpet squares, designer esque in the building, the cool stuff, the chairs, the pools, and all that kind of stuff. I'm giving the ammo to my leasing agents and property managers to rent. Surprisingly, you can do it with our advertising. We usually run about 2%, right, of total operating income. But I'm getting enough phone calls, and those phone calls, as you know, it's a numbers game. I have to have lots and lots of showings if I'm trying to fill 700 units.
Yeah.
So my advertising, first and foremost, is figured from the start of the project according to how many units I have to rent quickly. So if I'm doing 5 units a month, we know the pace in advertising that we have to throw out there to get those people showings in here. And then we have a great staff. But it's contagious. If I'm renovating fast and I'm showing the unit that is, 10 guys are in there painting, doing the carpet floors, that's awesome. That's a huge advantage for me because people love that. It's that psychological thing, Todd. It's like I'm picturing living there. They're unboxing my appliances. They're hooking up my dishwasher. This is my first apartment. We play off of that really well. So I don't want to go fast. The staff, the leasing agents make me go fast because they rented 5, I got to finish 5. Yeah. They rented 10, I got to finish 10. And that's kind of what it snowballs.
It takes a special leasing person to be able to show that type of unit too.
Yeah.
Because we've had that's probably been our biggest challenge in any property that's under renovation is just getting the leasing people to be like, yeah, I'll show that unit. But a lot of them just want a perfect unit. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be done. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have. I'll tell you a story. When I was managing myself on my own properties, I bought a building near St. Thomas. So it's for those who aren't familiar with the area, it's a private college. And this thing was a foreclosure triplex, and it was a fourplex, an illegal fourplex. And I had to bust a hole in this wall to get them, the 2 units combined. Anyways, I'm showing this. It's completely disaster, foreclosure, category 2 disaster. And I've got guys in there and there's dust everywhere and demo. And I'm showing these people, these college students, I'm showing them. And I had a book with me with a bunch of pictures. I'm like, here's what it's going to look like. Here are some of our other projects. Here's what it's going to look like. And I had that thing 100% rented out. We were still in the demo phase when I had it rented out.
Yeah.
It's the right attitude, right? And I'm like, they're like, well, what's it going to, this is what it's going to look like. I'm confident in what it's going to look like. You're going to have this beautiful place when you're done. And they're like, wow, looks amazing. Like, it does look amazing. And but guess what? It got done and they moved in and they're happy as can be because
they're thankful for it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah,
Think about
it's the
what
right attitude.
it is. Think about, when we scale up buildings, common area unit wise. My first apartment had running water every once in a while and maybe a mouse. The expectations of first time renters
Oh, way up.
now is, remember, mom and dad, remember
Yeah.
granite countertops and stainless steel start getting what affordable, maybe Todd, maybe 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
I think my
It,
parents had it like 2001.
yeah. Pretty commonplace. Probably not until though like mid to late, thousands, like 2008, 2000,
So
even later, probably.
being granite countertops and stainless steel wasn't on my radar
Yeah.
because my parents didn't have it.
Yeah.
Now it is. And now first time renters are expecting, right? At least
Yep.
gotta be as great as my parents, right?
Yep.
Now I'm expecting granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. And if we're installing it ourselves and buying it in bulk, we're satisfying that new renter, the first time renter, for
Yep.
God's sakes. That's pretty amazing that we can satisfy that. And we're not A plus 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 prices. We're class C and we play in that area real well
Yeah.
by mimicking that class A. Um, just real quick, we were talking about supplies where I can get them. Amazon, when we buy a lot on Amazon, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're buying in bulk. Um, a lot of the common areas are figured out and unit specs are priced out. Because remember, when I go to Amazon, I've got 20 different kitchen handles that I can choose from.
Yep.
When I go to a big box store, I can't, right?
Yep.
I can really drive my price down, especially when we're talking about ordering in bulk, 10 a month, 70 a month. Boy, I can really drive my price down big time and
You
I
can
know when
get
it's coming
bulk
to my house.
packages through Amazon. Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think our product has gotten better and easier to get instead of, remember back in the day, Todd, we went to Menards and we
Yep.
went to the Home Depot. I
Yep.
mean, now I have the world at my fingertips for products. It's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So we can
Between
make these
HD
units.
supply and
Yeah,
like you said, Amazon, and there's a lot of
right.
sources.
There
Yeah.
is. So, and we love that. I mean, that's just open market. I mean, I got 10 different quotes right there in front of me. By the way, I was listening to another one. Quoting is huge for us. So when we're doing a concierge, you guys, we forget about the legwork from the 6 months as we're working that and we're secret shopping that building and we're sneaking in and and looking at the building and all that kind of stuff before we get it under contract. But we vet a lot of that before we even step into the deal. Is it possible? What am I
Yeah.
going to do here? We ate lunches in the parking lots of all of our buildings. I mean, you and I did it. I mean, we were sitting in the parking lot, sitting, McDonald's going, okay, what am I going to do to this building if we get it? All of that thinking is done and figured and quoted before we buy these buildings. And if you keep that in mind, the heavy lifting is the thinking about what you're going to do. Once you get it quoted out, 4, 5, 6 different prices, right? You've got the best, leanest price. You sign the contract and get it going. It's out of your brain now. And so that's how we tackle these is do the heavy thinking real quick before you get into the deal. So you're not caught off guard.
Yep.
And I think we do a good job of that. I think we think through that in those parking lot meals that we have,
Yeah.
right? That's the best way to eat it around
Pre-planning.
the building.
Pre-planning. I mean, you're
Yep.
never going to get everything right, but
Right.
pre-planning avoids a lot of mistakes. Chris, what's something that separates Skyline? If I'm going, hey, Chris, why would I use you guys on the property management side?
Yeah.
What's something that makes Skyline special?
I think it's the brand that we can get for these buildings. If we're sweating the small, I had one of our owners go, "You really think a lot about this stuff." And I go, "Yeah, because I'm impacting a lot of people."
Yeah.
Think about it. If I've got 500 units or 1,000 units, I'm affecting like 3,000 people or
Yeah.
2,000 people that live in the city or live in my building. So pride in ownership and pride of owning and pride of managing, I think we do really well at is taking something simple. I'm going to go back to the unit and go a toilet paper holder. I had an employee that she saw it on Amazon and it was a cell phone holder toilet paper. And I said, that's it. You just turned a toilet paper holder into an amenity. Nice job. Do you think the tenant's going to realize that? I hope so. It's sweating those small details. I mean, the concierge, we thought so hard on the toilet paper holder and all of the other products that went in there. Remember, I'm a 10-year guy. When we're doing cost segregation on these buildings, it's important for me to know the life of the building because I'm renovating around that life of that building. If Todd, you tell me, hey, I got a building, I'm gonna, I'm holding it for 10 years, I go, okay, I'm gonna renovate around that to fit those needs. Because remember, when I'm renovating fast, thoroughly, once and for all. And then I can lean up my building for the next 9 years. That's my goal. So I'm looking at Amazon, I'm looking at a cell phone holder, a toilet paper holder, but I want that to last at least 10 years.
Mm.
Same with the common area carpet, same with the granite, same with the stainless steel. I need 10 years out of it.
Yep.
And that's the goal when we're buying these is what does my exit look like on this stuff? I need to know that because I'm renovating around it, right? So anyway, go back to Skyline. It's the brand. I want to be known and I want these buildings to one, make money and work efficiently. Tenants love it. Owners are proud to say that they're an owner of one of our buildings. Let's get back to that. Remember, we're housing providers. That's a big responsibility to me. We have a lot of people to take care of, safety, quality, and pride in living at one of our buildings. I think is a pretty cool thing. I take a lot of pleasure in knowing our rents compared to Class A. I think that's pretty cool that I never had granite countertops in my first apartment, but to be able to provide that for a good, 14, $1,500 on a 2, 13, 12, 1,300 on a one bedroom, that's awesome. That's a really affordable, great looking apartment, and I'm going to take care of you.
Yep.
I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Um, think about it, Todd. I'm set up a little bit. I'm a construction company and I'm a property management company.
Yeah.
We have our guys that have done thousands of units. When I have a project for myself, I gobble them for myself. When you have a project, they go to you. And so it's a perfect scenario for me. It happens as much as it happens. It's a natural transition for property managers to have a construction company following you around because we have those opportunities where an owner goes, like yourself, we have a project. Hey, Chris, can you help me out? That's how our business has grown is our buddies, meaning other apartment owners. Hey, Chris, can I borrow some guys? That happens. It's normal. It's a normal process.
Well, and it sets you up, right? There's a reason that construction management and property management work so well together. I mean, if I'm going to hire a property management company and I've got a renovation project, I want somebody that can renovate it, right? And
Right. Yeah.
manage that project.
Yeah.
They work so well together. Chris, look, we could probably keep on going for a long time, but I want to be respectful of your time. I got a couple last questions I'm going to wrap up with here. What's a mistake that you've made? One mistake and how have you learned from it? How can you teach our listeners something impressionable?
Going back to I first before my Jim taught me this. He always said, if you're going to do something stupid, ask a lot of people. And so, I go back to as we've built out Skyline from 54 to where we are now, I go, you have to have your core group of people. So I've got, I know you practice this too, but I've got, 10 buddies in all different aspects, financial, parent, mentor, business owner, those are my people that I go, hey, I'm doing this. I'm thinking about doing this. What did you do in this scenario when you got your business here? I play off of that. Again, I go under, I'm a very humble person and I know nothing. And if I keep that and I'm craving knowledge and I'm talking, what did you do here? I wish I would have known that a long time ago because I think people don't ask enough questions.
Yeah.
I ask my mentors, how'd you do this? What'd you do here? What'd you do here? Ask a lot of questions when you're getting started because you do not know everything. And if
Yeah.
you have that mentality in life, oof, it's a tough one, man. So build your core group of people and ask a lot of questions and stay humble. Tom, what's that old one where if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Practice that. Because on a 54 unit, I thought I could do it. No, I couldn't do it by myself. I needed my peers. I needed my tuck pointer. I needed my carpet guy. I needed my electrician. I needed my property manager. I needed all those people. And you have to ask a lot of questions and then take those and craft it your way. And I
Mhm.
think I've done good with that.
Yeah.
But I
I think
didn't.
that's awesome.
I didn't. You think you can do it on your own, but you have to rely on other smart people to give you some guidance on it.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
remember, Todd, we're problem solvers. When we buy a building, we have 5 million problems to solve. You just start with one problem at a time,
Yep.
and you get better at making faster decisions. But you can do that by understanding a little bit from everybody and
Yep.
everywhere.
Yep.
So
Love that.
learn. You can't do it on your own. You need your support crew.
It reminds me of the Henry Ford thing. I think he was like being questioned at I think the government was like questioning him and saying he wasn't educated and he's like, look, I've got a row of buttons sitting on my desk and I can push any one of those buttons and I'll get you answers for any question that you can ask me. So it was the you guys think I'm dumb, right? Because they're asking him like history question about something that happened in 1743 and he's like, I don't know
Uh,
the answer to that, but I've got a
yeah.
button that can tell me what that answer is. Somebody will
Yeah.
walk in, yes sir, okay, what's this? Okay, I got the
Yeah.
answer. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, what's a favorite book?
Oh, when I was first hired, let's see, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I
Hmm.
know you get that one a lot. Um, we can all trade stories about who we've met, but I think that has taught me to stay humble.
Mhm.
Um, when I'm building a company that I want to last without me. And that book has really taught me to be very humble and to network and to place money where I can see it. I like apartments because I can see it. I don't know much about, stocks and all that kind of stuff because I can't see it. But a building I can. I can drive it. Is it clean? Does it look like all the units are filled right? Does it smell good? I like real estate because I can see it and I can touch it and I can feel it, I can smell it, I can see if it's operating well. But that is one that has taught me to stay humble. And I,
Yeah.
I like that. I'm still going to be picking up garbage, right? I have to be.
You
So
said
I
a little
learned a lot.
golden nugget there that I don't want to glaze over here. You said, I'm building a company that can last without me. So
Yeah.
important if you're listening to this. Like, build
Yeah.
companies that can last without you. Because one
Yeah.
day you might want to go do something else. And you don't want your company just to have to fold, go
Yeah.
under, whatever that is. Like, you want to be able to build that company to be able
Yeah.
to last without you. And that's how you build multiple companies that can provide, multiple streams of income. That's how you've got two different companies going on really under the same umbrella, but you're doing things to do it to where they can work without you. Now you're still plenty involved, but you're setting yourself up.
Yeah.
Last question I got. What are your three pillars of wealth creation?
My three. Pillars of wealth. I, I, you know, I do a lot of syndication. I always have. Um, I that's a tough one for me, Todd, because you know me. For me, I've got my property management. I'm passionate about reno. I do a lot of syndication. I'm networking and placing money on buildings that I can see and manage. Um, I think go back to my book on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Money to me, I'm at a weird point in my life, right? But I've never been motivated by that. I've been motivated with making sure my employees are a big deal for me. I like to see them. I don't typically hire property managers with property manager experience. I like to hire and train maintenance guys too. Maintenance guys, take. I like the fast food industry. It's a tough industry. It trains us to be efficient. I mean, what's that movie about McDonald's?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
It shows us how to be efficient with these units and buildings, and I like that concept. So I think I take real pride in training someone. Someone took a chance on me, and I like to see how people perform and what they can be if they have the capacity and want. That makes me really satisfied. Making a company that will last is extremely satisfying to me. Cool, fun projects. Obviously, buildings, once you finish one, you want to do another one. It's super contagious. There's very big highs and lows. When I finished Concierge, the next day I said, well, what do I do now? How do I
Yeah.
top that one? So for me, satisfying my craving for knowledge, growing a company that will sustain, and just having fun is a big deal for me. Um, I think does that help?
It's
Does that
perfect.
answer your question?
It's a great answer. You spelled it out just perfectly, like those right now. That was perfect. Chris, man, I really appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Man, you are such a humble guy, and I really appreciate that about you. You've done a lot of really cool stuff, and a lot of really, I mean, very successful projects. So you could be coming on here bragging about everything you did. But you talk about it with humility. I can tell you're passionate about what you do. Tell
Yeah.
you're very passionate about serving too. It's not like
Hmm.
you said, it's not just really about making money. It's about more than that. And I definitely can tell you're having fun. So Chris, how can people learn more about Skyline, get in touch with you, and
Yeah.
connect?
Take a look at our website. My email address is Chris at skylinelivingmn, as in Minnesota.com. And then our website is skylineliving.info. You'll see all the projects. We've got some bios on there. I've got a team of people that have been with me, and I'm proud of them for a long, long time. Besides me, we have a crew that has been with us a long time. That's a big deal for me. There's a lot of turnover in this industry.
Yeah,
My key employees have been with us for a long time, and they have really spurred on the growth with the company.
that's
So
great.
I'm thankful for that. But yeah, skylineliving.info, and you got my email address. So
I feel like if you can keep an employee in this
oh,
industry, in the property management industry, more than about 2 years, you've done
critical.
something really well.
Yeah, it's critical.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Awesome. Chris, again, really appreciate you, and you have a
Yeah.
fantastic rest of the day.
Yeah. See you around. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So
The other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.